Hi everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to be giving you a recap of August. If you're new here, I've been hosting a year-long art challenge, and for the month of August we focused on animals. But before we get into that, I would like to give a shout out to Lily B, who is the comment of the week. Thank you so much for your comment. I really like reading y'all's comments, and if you would like to have a chance to have a shout out in a video, all you have to do is leave a comment. That could have been you. There's also some art advice in this comment, so feel free to pause and read. Here is the artwork that was posted in the Discord server for the month of August. If you would like to join a community of artists who are actively working to improve their artwork, there's going to be a link to the Discord server in the description. It's the very first link down there. I've avoided drawing animals for years because I felt like it was too hard and I didn't think that my animal drawings looked good. Granted, they didn't look good because I wasn't drawing animals, but anyways. For starters, there's like far too many animals out there, and I mean that's not a bad thing because I love animals, but for drawing that's a bad thing because there's too many of them out there to study realistically, for me at least. And they also look so very different. Obviously, there's so many different species, and even within species there's so many different breeds, so many different variations, and so it's just something that's always been very intimidating for me. And for that reason, I've been dreading this month all year since this challenge started. But despite all those fears, I found that I actually enjoyed this month, which was very surprising. I decided to focus on a different species each week. So week 1 was cats, week 2 was dogs, week 3 was birds, and finally I worked on horses. I chose these particular animals because I'm more likely to use them in my own artwork. I do like children's book illustrations every now and then, and also just personal projects sometimes require me to, or would require me to draw animals, but I just haven't been doing that. Also, like if I were to get a commission, it's possible someone might want me to draw their cat or their dog or something. A week was definitely not long enough to study each of these animals. Like I said, there's so many different variations in even within those different categories. But I think the amount of time that I was able to put in each week was a really nice start for me. Ideally, I would practice a single species each month, but I only had a month to do animals in general, so I'm just gonna let future Amira deal with that. Even though time was very limited, I still feel like I learned a lot this month. However, the most impactful lesson that I learned has more to do with life in general and less with art, which was a very interesting development. For the longest time, I was very content with just drawing people. I didn't really have the desire to learn how to draw landscapes or learn how to draw animals or just anything outside of my comfort zone, honestly. Despite that, I still felt like very confident with saying I know how to draw, even though there were so many different things that I didn't know how to draw, even within that category of people. Since this challenge began, I have noticed that there is so much that I don't know about drawing. There's so many different things out there for me to learn, and the more I learn, the more I realize I don't actually know what I'm doing, which is kind of funny. I was really comfortable with saying I knew how to draw, even though there was so much that I did not know how to draw. Like, I knew I couldn't draw dogs or horses. I couldn't even get the proportion of a human head down, but I kept just saying, oh, I know how to draw. I'm just, oh my gosh, I'm such an amazing artist. Which part of that is kind of good. Like, I'm glad that I had that confidence, but at the same time, I think it hindered my development as an artist since I was so confident in my abilities and kept telling myself that I knew how to draw things. I closed the door to learning, closed the door to development, and didn't even consider sitting down and actually doing studies. Like, that's not something I've ever done as an artist until this year. And the few times I would attempt to draw something outside of my comfort zone, like let's say I drew a cat, I would get very discouraged because it would look weird. I mean, obviously I didn't know what I was doing, but because I knew, oh, if I try to draw something that I'm not used to drawing, this out of my comfort zone, it's not gonna look good and I'm not gonna want to move forward with that. And it would also challenge my belief that I know what I'm doing. I know how to draw. And in so doing, it would also cause me to question my skills. My hubris wouldn't even allow me to draw something even just a tiny bit difficult. Maybe a year or so ago, I noticed that my artwork had started to become stagnant. I didn't feel like I was improving in between years very much, which was kind of new because even though I've never sat down to do studies, I would still see improvement from year to year just from the sheer amount that I was drawing. That improvement began to drastically slow down to the point where if I looked at a drawing, let's say from 2020, a drawing from 2020, end of 2023 would look pretty similar. And in some aspects, I feel like I may have regressed even a little bit. And that's just because I just wasn't experimenting with anything. I didn't draw anything outside of my comfort zone. I would just draw the same subjects and poses over and over again. And I also noticed that drawing wasn't as fun as it used to be, which was very disappointing. And that's just because I wasn't making it exciting for myself. Like, it's get pretty boring just drawing the same characters over and over again, drawing the same faces, the same poses. Fortunately, the thought of no longer enjoying something that had become an important part of my identity and just something that I really enjoyed, like, that was more frightening to me than admitting that I didn't know something or know what I was doing. Last year I participated in Peachtober, and I really pushed myself to go outside of my comfort zone and draw things that I wouldn't typically draw. I even drew a crocodile at one point, which was pretty fun. Afterwards I was like, you know what if I did a year-long art challenge where I really challenge myself and really push myself to draw things that are outside of my comfort zone. In a lot of ways, I feel like Peachtober really reignited a spark within me, because I was kind of dealing with a bit of art block for a little while, for a few months actually, and I guess I was a little bit in a state of denial. I was like, this is an art block, this can't be art block. But I think it was, and I think what I needed was something like Peachtober to come along and, just kind of reignite the creative fire within me and really help me to kind of expand myself creatively. Speaking of which, I have an idea for a series of videos next year. I'm thinking about calling it like Artist Boot Camp or something. I was thinking about doing a series where I
You'll need to unlock your iPad first.
Siri, nobody asked you.
Okay, I found this on the web for Nobody Asked You. Check it out.
I lost my train of thought. Again, Artist Boot Camp is basically going to be a series where I go and choose to draw different subjects or things that I know that I typically don't draw, like animals. Like, I'm thinking about doing like a video where I draw dogs for like a month or a week or so, or a video on perspective where I practice perspective for a week or so. So it's things like that, and I think that would be a really fun series, and I think that would definitely help me grow as an artist. I found that I actually, first of all, really enjoyed Peachtober, and I actually really enjoyed getting outside of my comfort zone, especially when I removed any sort of expectation, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't expect certain drawings to turn out well, and because I kind of, I want to rephrase that. It was more so I removed pressure from myself to make things look good all of the time. And I noticed that when I felt more comfortable pushing myself to do things that were uncomfortable, and I also ended up enjoying the drawing process a lot more because I was drawing new things, and I saw a little teeny bit of improvement in my artwork as well. That's kind of how I got the idea for this art challenge in the first place. The challenge has taught me that there's nothing wrong with admitting that you don't know something. In fact, there's a lot of power in admitting such a truth to yourself. Admitting that you don't know allows you to learn, it allows you to grow, and it allows you to push yourself to do things that you typically wouldn't do. However, the refusal to admit such a thing, refusing to admit that you don't know something, can actually limit your growth and cause you to become very stagnant or to regress, which is what I really saw in my own artwork between like 2022, 2024. In general, I actually like learning new things. I love a random article about a random thing, and I love documentaries. And I also realized that that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed college so much. I just love learning. That has never translated over into my artwork, which is quite interesting to me. However, since I have been challenging myself artistically and challenging my artistic fears, I noticed that I'm starting to enjoy art again, and I'm enjoying the process of learning. I'm really excited to continue to push myself to see what I can do, to see what else I can learn. And like I said earlier, the more I learn, the more I realize there is out there for me to learn. So I don't feel like I'm going to get bored with drawing anytime soon. I've even noticed some of those things that I've learned has also bled over into my personal life as well, where I feel a little more open to try things or do things, learn things that maybe were a little intimidating to me before. Long story short, I think it's really important to challenge your beliefs and push through the discomfort of learning something new, and also to really just let go of pride and arrogance when it comes to improving yourself in general, but this is an art channel, so I'm gonna say improving your art. I didn't start this challenge with the expectation of learning any life lessons. I just wanted to make better art, but it's kind of working out that way, but I'm not mad at it. I'll praise it to Allah. For the month of September, we are working on challenging mediums. I chose Prismacolors, which I've always wanted to learn how to use. I bought a set of 24 years ago, almost a decade ago, and I never actually sat down to learn how to use them because it was too scary. However, since, you know, I'm a new woman, you know, I'm like working on myself and stuff. So I'm finally sitting down and actually learning how to use these pencils, and I'm actually enjoying it so far. If you'd like to see that, of course subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when the next update video comes out. Hopefully I'll maybe be a little more consistent this month. That is the hope, that is the prayer. I noticed that I was having a little bit of creative block, but only with videos, and I realized it's because I've been making the same videos since January, so I'm gonna try to switch it up a little bit to make things a little more interesting for me on the video editing side. So hopefully I'll be a little more consistent with videos this month, inshallah. I hope you enjoyed the little animal drawings that I've sprinkled throughout the video as well. I have noticed like there is some improvement there with my animals. Of course there's much more for me to learn, but I'm really proud of the effort that I put in this month, and I actually enjoyed it, which is very surprising. I enjoy drawing the cats and the horses the most. Dogs and birds, still very difficult. I at least have laid a foundation for learning how to draw these animals. Anyways, that is everything. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Shout out to my patrons, Merriment Illustrations, Sister Donna 55, Kelsey, and my mama. Thank you so much for being my patrons. I really appreciate you and everything you do. Wow, oh my goodness. The links for my social media are going to be in the description, as well as a link to the Discord server for the art challenge. Anyways, here are a few more videos that I think you would like, and I will see you next time.